that we have it all. Welcome to New York's Divine Channel. You can have it all. And today, our topic is healing your money story. And we are live on the Win-Win Women TV network, going out to 195 nations around the world. And the topic today is very close and near and dear to my heart, because I had to heal my own money story. And I have studied how to do it for many years in order to be able to do it, and have now worked with many, many clients to do just that very same thing for them as well. And so I'm going to share with you something close and personal to my heart in order to help motivate, inspire, and connect with you on a deeper level, on a more profound level today, on being able to heal your money story. Here's what I noticed. I made some observations. And when I made some observations about my money story, what I noticed, now that I have healed it for many, many years, it's been just continuing to increase and do more and more and more and better and better and better. And I've been doing some real self-introspection and some thinking, not only for what my journey has been, but so many others that I have worked with along the years. Over the last 12 years, I've been really working with clients one-on-one privately, as well as in the last 3 years in our academy. And I have noticed the same exact pattern with everyone. So I can tell you right now, if you are watching this TV show to heal your money story yourself, you definitely are in a position where you do not believe you are worthy of the money being in a good, healthy place. You do not believe that you are worthy of having a nice, big, fat savings account and a nice income coming in that easily pays your bills with a whole bunch left over. And you do not believe that you are good enough, and you are punishing yourself for something that you did or something somebody else said that you did or did not do. So somebody has told you that you are not good enough, that you didn't do right by them, or you're not a good person, that you're selfish, or that you're just a loser. Something has been said to you, and you took it to heart, you internalized it, and you owned it as your own, and you now believe it, and you are operating as such. Now, for me, mine began actually when my divorce was pending, and that was a long time ago, because I actually did get divorced in 2005. But it started happening in 2002, where the marriage was crumbling. And then my finances started to crumble as a result. Why? Because I was being told that I wasn't good enough. I was actually being called names. I can't even use the words on this Win-Win Women television network that I was called, because we have certain rules around what we can and cannot say on our live TV show that is going to be publicized and archived for many, many years to come. So I will not be able to give you those words. Maybe I will in the private interactive room when we get done with our first 30 minutes of taping. And unfortunately, I now can look back and see how I took those words to heart. And because I'm actually very gifted in business, and very gifted in being able to sell and make money, I thought for sure that after my divorce, I would be able to bounce back fairly quickly, that I would land on my feet. Oh no, that did not happen. And I know how come now. Of course, I would have loved to have known that back then, but the learning process is that you have hindsight, and later on you're able to figure out what you went through. So after my divorce, I went down further and further and further and further. And what I can see now is that I had a soul injury because I accepted those negative words into my heart and I owned them, not knowing that I shouldn't have done that. I didn't know that uh, that was going to be to my detriment. I didn't even know I was doing that. I was still very naive to how our self-love works, how our worthiness and our deserving works. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is that what we do is we start punishing ourselves. We start punishing ourselves for the mistake that we made, either the failed marriage, or maybe we did screw up our finances. Maybe I've talked to a lot of people where they've either gone bankrupt, or they had a house foreclosure, or they had homelessness for a little while or a lot, or they've gone through a car being repossessed, or losing their job, or losing their spouse, or losing their child. It could be various different things that have happened. And then they have a very hard time rebounding back to a place of loving themselves. So guess what? There has to be a point. I'm going to give you some teaching points now that we've identified what the cause is. Either we're beating ourselves up because we screwed up and made a mistake, and we think we should have been more efficient at getting through a hard time in our life, and we think we should have been better than we did get through it. We didn't get through it very well. And so we're beating ourselves up for the outcome. And if you're beating yourself up, I'm going to tell you right now, stop it. There has to be a day that you decide to stop it. You're doing self-injurious behavior. It's called self-punishment. And it is as if you think that you have to teach yourself a lesson so that you never repeat it again, and you don't trust yourself to go ahead and actually succeed at life. You know what? I'm going to tell you right now, ask yourself for another chance. Tell yourself, listen, we've learned a lot from all the mistakes we made. In fact, we know everything not to do in order to have a great financial life, which actually is completely tied to our love life with ourselves, and normally with others as well. Because if we have a hard path in the category of romance and love, we usually go through a really hard financial time when we end that relationship. But it's not always caused just because you have no longer two people living in the same household or two incomes. It's actually because we should be able to rebound quicker than most of us do. It's actually those of us who decide to beat ourselves up. Not everybody does, by the way. There are a lot of women who are able to leave a marriage and love themselves through the process and get right back up on the bandwagon and make lots of money and save their money. In fact, their money is doing way better because now they don't have somebody spending it on them or stealing it from them or forcing them to spend it on certain things. And of course, you know, when you're married, there's a fine line between whether you're being forced or not, because sometimes they can make it nearly impossible to survive if you don't do it their way. And you know that their way isn't the right way. So those of us who accidentally internalized the horrible things that were said to us by somebody else, or we internalized the mistakes that we made and messed up our finances, or we're right now still beating ourselves up because we feel that we should be able to be in a better place. So those of us who have decided to basically try to punish ourselves, teach ourselves a lesson, or absorb other people's opinions of us, we're the ones that are watching this show right now, working on healing our money story. We're doing it because we really just need to heal our relationship with ourselves, either because of what somebody else did to us and we absorbed it and internalized it and owned it as our own, or whether we did it to ourselves, because some of us just do it to ourselves. And it could be both. I know for myself, it was both. I had my ex-husband, at the time husband, saying horrible things to me. I am able to look back at it now, and all of which was not real. I was actually succeeding at a higher level than he was. And apparently he couldn't handle that because I wasn't in that place when we got married. And then I started my own business. Actually, I had my own business when we met, and I kept growing and getting bigger and higher and higher. And now I can look back, I think this is 18 years later since my divorce, and it started breaking down 3 years before that. So 21 years later, I'm able to tell you that it's because there was a lot of jealousy. There was the woman can't make more than me. And so I started, I was confused because I was in a happy marriage and then I wasn't in a happy marriage, and horrible things were being said to me. And now I realize it was to take me down and put me down underneath somebody else's thumb and to keep me small. Okay. I didn't even realize that at the time. There was so many other things going on that played into it. So it actually took me a good number of years after my divorce to peel through all the layers of, because when you have a failed marriage and then when your finances are doing really terrible, you feel like a loser. And so you start really thinking, well, maybe he is right. Maybe he was right about me. And you really start believing all this garbage, and it's gaslighting. So somebody is gaslighting you right now in your life, or somebody was gaslighting you and you have now continued to become the gaslighter of yourself because you owned it. And now you repeat what they say, what they said to you. So somebody gaslit you at one time, and then you decided to repeat the gaslighting, and now you continue to gaslight yourself with all the same garbage. Or you're just gaslighting yourself and nobody else gaslit you. Now, the fastest, most quick way to really just clear out the self-love problem, the self-doubt problem, the deserving problem is to decide to get rid of everybody and anybody in your inner circle that is gaslighting you. Because while you're being gaslit, it is very difficult for you to heal your money story. And your money story being healed is a direct result of your self-love being healed. When your self-love is down, your money is down, and your money management skills are down because you're self-sabotaging yourself. You don't believe you have the right to have a really great financial life. When your self-love is really high, you're doing really well with your income. You're doing really, really well with your management of money. I have been interviewing thousands of people over the years and see the same repeated patterns with the women that I have talked to. And so you want to make a decision today. Today's the day that you're going to stop punishing yourself. And there's a myriad of reasons of why you started to. Stop self-sabotaging yourself. Stop thinking you're not worthy and not deserving. Even in our criminal system in the United States of America, they send you to jail for a certain amount of years and then they let you out. And then you have a new start, a fresh start. They give you another chance. It's very few and far between that get life in prison. And if they did, then we all know why. So some of you have actually put yourself in prison for life over a mistake that if you had been in the criminal system, they would have only maybe slapped your hand over it. Or maybe obviously they didn't find you if you did make a mistake and you're not locked up, and maybe you have been in the past, but you're out now, or maybe you've never been. But really, we're way more mean to ourselves than any criminal system is. You start looking at what people have done to get themselves locked up and how they're out like 5 years later or 10 years later and what they actually did. And then look at what you're beating yourself up over. It's probably not anything like that. It's probably much smaller. You're holding yourself to this ridiculous level of perfection in order to allow yourself to be happy financially in your life and to be happy with yourself, to love yourself, and to not sabotage your own success. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is start thinking about, when am I going to stop punishing myself? When do I get out of jail? When do I, you You could do that right now. It's a 30-second decision. Today, I want you to make that with me. And then some of you did let yourself out of jail, but you have yourself on parole and you're your own parole officer and you lock yourself up in the house. You don't let yourself go out and have fun. You don't trust yourself. You're still holding everything against yourself that you did wrong. And granted, you probably did make some mistakes. We all do. It's life. This is real life. And you have to now decide to get quiet with yourself today and ask yourself for another chance. You know what? There's 100 more chances you can give yourself because life is a learning process. It's a journey of learning. So learning means you're going to make mistakes, you're going to win some and you're going to lose some. So can you be okay with that you have lost some? I mean, for crying out loud, some of you are just so mean to yourself because you made some mistakes that you're holding yourself back from your own happiness and joy. And you think you've actually you've given yourself a life sentence, life in prison. I'm never allowed to go make some really good money and have a good financial cushion, a nice savings account, and then you have all these reasons why. Now, if you're doubting what I'm saying, that's because you haven't gotten really quiet and done some self-introspection with yourself. Okay. Because again, I know women who've gone through horrible things. They've had people gaslight them and they've gaslit themselves, but they did decide to get out of it. And they have decided no matter what people have said to them, done to them, or no matter how many mistakes they've made, they've given themselves another chance and they're out there and they're hitting it. They're making it happen and they've got a wonderful life. They're building their finances. They're growing. I'm one of them. And I was in that horrible place for over a decade. So you're talking to a person who really understands this journey. Now, in a tribute to Tina Turner today, since she just recently passed away, God rest her soul. What a beautiful soul. She talked about how she started from, it's a rags to riches story because she started from nothing at the age of 40 after she got out of a very, very abusive, toxic relationship. Her husband, Ike Turner, had been married to 14 other women. I don't know what number she was, but he had 14 or 15 wives and he was known for abuse and beating them. He even apologized to Tina Turner many, many years later on a TV show where the TV host said, you should apologize to her. And he said some crazy thing like, I only threw her on the ground a few times and I'm sorry. Some crazy thing like that he admitted to publicly. And they were famous in their own right as a couple. However, he was beating her. She would show up with black eyes. And she was the one that really made them famous out of the two. Well, she had to run down an airplane track to get away and had to get a lot of help in order to do it. And she left with pennies in her wallet and he kept all the money. He kept all the material possessions. She just basically had to run away and get free. And then she started into how she wrote it, because there's some quotes written by her. And she said, I started as a Black woman at 40 years old, penniless, and I started my life over again. And the rest is history, because, she became a very well-known, very soul-driven singer that we all love. And she made it. And you know what? That's a story of getting over being gaslit, beaten to death, and everything else, and starting fresh from scratch and getting her life to a wonderful place. And she said she always knew there was something inside of her. And you all that are watching today, and those of you who are tuning in later on, you have something inside of you, and you know that you're worthy of more. You know that you can do more. You know that you can have a way better money story and a way better life. Money is just an even exchange of energy of the amount of love we have for ourselves, just so you know. People people who are really well aware of how this works, they know that when you're going through hard times financially, it's because you don't love yourself. You've decided to adopt somebody else's opinion of you, or you've decided to have an opinion of your own that's negative, and you haven't decided to give yourself unconditional love. Everybody knows, who's been through it themselves and has done any self-introspection to really figure it out, that it's because you haven't healed your self-love situation yet. And so when we're out there and we're asking for payment plans and we're trying to get, I remember I had to convince a dentist to do a root canal for me and do it for $50 a month payment plan, because at the time I needed a root canal, and our teeth always fall apart when we're going through depression or anxiety, by the way. And so I had to convince the doctor in severe pain that I will definitely pay my $50 a month, so somebody like that who's in that position where I was at one time, and yes, I did pay all my $50 a month payments. Thank God I was able to do that. And somebody who's got a lot of compassion and really understands the work of a therapist, the work of helping people heal theirself, heal their own soul and heart, and love themselves again, knows that that lady's only standing out there asking for a $50 payment for her root canal because she can't pay the $1,500 up front because her self-love is too low. Either somebody beat her up verbally or physically or both, or she's beating herself up, or both. All right. So today's the day that you have to stop beating yourself up. I'm asking you with all my heart and soul for you to just decide to drop it. And the day that you stop punishing yourself is the day that your self-love is going to skyrocket and your money is going to skyrocket. And one of the things that I have to tell you is that you do have to remove the people who are gaslighters. So 6 years ago, I had one particular person in my life still that was continually difficult to please, nothing good to say to me at all, horrible attitude toward me. And thankfully, I was able to walk away. And that was actually a close family member, not my ex-husband, because that one already was out the door years and years ago, back 18 years ago. But 6 years ago is when everything really, really fully skyrocketed for me, because I walked away from trying to please people that are not willing to look at the real deal of who you are as a person. And it wasn't easy. It was very challenging. However, it was the secret to my success. And at the time, I didn't even know it. I didn't even know that that was the final straw that I needed to take in order to heal my life. And I met my wife a year or two later after that, and was able to let love back into my life. But I had to stop trying to people please. Codependency means that you're trying to seek the approval of others. And you might not even have a relationship with them, because this person I really didn't have much of a relationship with, although it was a very close immediate family member. Okay. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And I know many of you have something similar in your life, a very close immediate family member that I kept seeking the approval of. And so that is considered a codependent relationship. And when I stopped seeking their approval and didn't care anymore, that was the day that I loved myself enough to let myself succeed and have a happy life, to allow love back into my life, and to allow to receive love, because your money is directly related to you allowing yourself to receive love. Okay. Because money is another form of love. So you can do an even exchange of energy with somebody, because you're saying, well, I love you for doing this for me. Thank you. It's a gratitude. It's a currency of gratitude and love. Okay. So when we don't let ourselves receive gratitude fully and receive love fully, then our income is not where it could be. It's not where it is capable of being if we would allow ourselves to receive love and allow ourselves to receive um, positivity. So receiving is a feminine energy. Giving is a masculine energy, and we all have the masculine and the feminine in us as human beings, whether we're born a male or born a female. We all have both the masculine and the feminine in us. And a lot of us that have gone through turmoil in our life, where we've gone through really hard times, we stepped into our masculine because it was the give and the hunter energy and the give energy. And we stepped out of our feminine energy of receiving and allowing. And so it's time for us all to step into our feminine energy, step into our receiving energy, and allow love to come to us. Allow ourselves to receive money, to receive love, to receive goodness, to receive kind actions toward us. Get good at saying thank you when somebody compliments you instead of trying to second guess it and think that it's not a compliment. And you really need to get mad at yourself for preventing yourself from succeeding and end it. End it. You have to now become your own best friend, because what we have been doing when we're in a bad place with self-love and a bad place financially is we have been our own worst enemy. And it could have been caused by somebody else initially, and then we took it on and owned it, or we caused it all to ourselves. Either way, it's because you're your own worst enemy and you're stealing your own happiness and success. So how do you become your own best friend? There's the journey back to loving yourself. And it is a sacred and divine journey. And I invite you to ask Divine in to help you do that today. And as we close out the recorded part of this show and go into the 30 minutes of interactive that's not recorded in the next minute or two, where we can chat amongst ourselves without recording, I want you to know that I am going to be giving you some spiritual tools. So you can do some spiritual warfare to clear out that garbage that you adopted. You can ask Divine for another chance because maybe you feel like you made such a big mistake that you need forgiveness from Divine. Well, then ask God for forgiveness for whatever mistakes or things that you did that you think are unforgivable. Ask Divine for forgiveness and ask for another chance. Have a quiet, sacred prayer with Divine today. In fact, we'll do one if you're going to stay for the interactive, and maybe get out some spiritual tools to help you and support you. Use some holy water, use some holy oil. It doesn't matter what faith you are. It's not a religious based thing. It's a spiritual thing. It's your connection with Divine, and we don't have to define Divine for you. You can define it for yourself. Get out some prayer tools, whatever you resonate with. Sit down and make a little altar, put some pictures of your loved ones, maybe put a picture of whomever you do believe is divine, and pull out some tools and make a nice little altar in your home. It could even be on your kitchen table. It doesn't have to be anything specifically fancy. And you might even have it on a little shelf in your house. Maybe it's in your bedroom. Who knows where you put it? And create a space where you pray and ask for forgiveness, ask Divine to help you on the journey of self-love. And you will be surprised once you make that decision to get rid of all the gaslighters, all the people who are mean and negative to you, that call you names, that complain about you, that tell you all the things that are wrong with you, and half of them aren't even true normally. Get rid of that energy out of your life. Remove it. Do an experiment. Put them on timeout for 1 year. Find out what you can do in 1 year without them in your energy. And it might just be you. You might be people pleasing and trying to get their love and affection, and they might not even care. You might just be chasing them for love. Stop chasing people for love. Just love yourself. You don't need love from those people. You just need it from yourself. And so if you need help on that journey of love, I've got a course you can take. I've got a club you can join come September. We have a brand new Soul Enlightenment Club for Women coming up in September, which is going to be incredible. We have the course Unleash Your Fully Empowered Self and Happy Life. And we also have body work and healing work that I do in my non-surgery wellness center in Rochester, New York. Sign up for a half a day with me or a full day, maybe even 2 days. You can start with 1 or 2 hours just to try it, but do the work to bring back your self-love, the prayer work, the journaling work, the quiet time at the altar and talking with God, or go in nature. You might not resonate with an altar in your house. Maybe you want to just go sit on a rock by your favorite tree, by the lake or the ocean, and enjoy nature time and feel close to God that way and talk to God and tell God, I'm ready to heal my life. I'm ready to love myself again. And I have a self-love prayer that works really, really well. And so if you want that, put your email in the chat box and I will email you the self-love prayer. Some of you might have already received it from me. And I am going to be giving away a gift in the interactive room. We also have a body, mind, and spirit healing. You can have it all retreat coming up in Hawaii in October 12th through the 17th. So go to my website, CamilleConti.com, and then go into the shop page and you'll see all the great stuff that we have available for you to really just bring out the best in yourself by freeing yourself from jail, deciding to love yourself, deciding to stop trying to seek approval and love from others that do not care about you probably as nearly as much as you care about them, sad to say, and start putting that attention seeking behavior to yourself and give yourself the love. All right, so now we're going to switch over to our unrecorded section.